Hey guys, Got197 again, once again with some more new loot. A very long new loot because over 80% of my previous new loot video got lost. So let's quickly get going with the latest and greatest model kit I got, the Force Impulse Gundam. And man, does this thing look amazing, especially compared to the pretty abominable high grade that we had prior to this thing. Very off-white. It's not like really the traditional white that we get. It's almost a lightish gray. That could be very interesting. And then we get the eyes, of course, which is a very cool common thing now with the Gundams, with the All Gundam project. Very nice small detail. I mean, I'm really looking forward to putting this thing together. I've had that old Impulse for way too long, and I'm really looking forward to replacing it. And man, this thing just looks so sleek. I mean, look at it like this, the body seems to be pretty small compared to the legs. I'm not sure if that's just perspective, but I'll figure that out soon enough when I build it myself. And I'm so looking forward to it. Put this back. The other new one I got, a much bigger box, well, not much bigger, but slightly bigger box for the Grace Custom, and this thing comes packing with accessories. Which is really going to be the reason that I'll have to get on with building my regular Grace, because not only does this thing come with parts for the Grace Custom, but it also comes with like the hover pack that I don't remember the Grace Custom using, but that was used with the regular Graces. And just the colors on this thing are so nice, very nice, like foresty green, and just really something you would see on a military machine, like moss green, forest green, just like the perfect kinds of colors for a military machine. And of course, with this kind of green and the more slender appearance, once again solidifying the very Leo-esque, well, I wouldn't say design, but the very Leo-esque vibe we've got going on with the Grazes. So I'm also really looking forward to putting that thing together. Then something kind of different. The Native Dancer from Fang of the Sun Diagram, and as always, if you haven't watched Diagram yet, go watch it right after this video. Also, some very nice detailing on this little machine gun that we're getting, also very nice detailing on the bigger machine gun. It's a pretty expensive kit for what it is, but at least the detailing is good, and if it means getting more Diagram kits, I am all for supporting Max Factory to the max. Now, I kind of forgot, I think the next one was the Bushman that we were getting. But like I said, more Fang of the Sun Diagram kits is always a good thing, even if they are on the expensive side. Then back with some more Gundam. Zaku 1, did a review of that. Put that back. Another Gym Thunderbolt type. And the thing about it is, I figured, you know what, it's a gym. It never hurts to have too many gyms. And I was kind of wondering what the differences in color were going to be like between the two gyms. For example, when you look at the Zaku Big Gun version, the colors were a lot better on the anime version than on the, I guess now, manga version that I got. So I'm kinda annoyed / disappointed that I have the anime, that I do not have the anime version of the gun, and that I'm stuck now with a very candy-colored gun. And I don't think, like, for example, weren't the hoses on the original Gym Thunderbolt white instead of black? Looks a hell of a lot better anyways. I think that would be the case. So, it's gonna be nice comparing them. I'm probably gonna prefer the anime / OVA version over the manga version. Then, Ainz Grays. And before we go on, I just gotta ask, am I really the only one who doesn't absolutely hate Ain's guts? I mean, the thing with Ein is, to a certain degree, his hatred is somewhat understandable. I mean, the guy lost pretty much anyone, or pretty much everyone who meant something to him, or who even considered him as a human, to Tekadon, so it's not that far-fetched that he really has something against Tekadon. And then I guess especially Kudelia, who is pretty much like their symbol. So in that aspect, I wouldn't say I like the guy as a person, but I definitely thought that Ein was a great character, in the sense that he did add a lot to the story, and his character is also believable. Like I said, with everything he went through, I mean, he does have a reason for going so batshit crazy. And then he ends up being used and betrayed, so a very tragic character. And now for some older stuff I got. First up, we have the Hyzak Earth Federation Forces colors, which I'm of course going to use for the Hyzak Venergant resin kit. And now the thing also about this thing was, now, I forgot if I mentioned this in another video, or if I mentioned this in my lost footage from the previous New Loot video. So I'll just quickly mention it again. So the thing about this is, in my Hyzak Titans Colors review, Area 7 Pro mentioned that he also had a Hyzak, but his actually had a hole in the bottom for an action base. And my first reaction was, well, that's kind of weird, because I have 4-ish Hyzaks, and none of them had a hole in the bottom at all, nor does, of course, the manual mention anything about it. But then he sent pictures of his Hyzak, and his Hyzak did indeed have a hole in his bottom. Another weird thing was that, like, my Hyzaks weren't that old, like, at least my Titan's Hyzak wasn't that old. So then, I got this thing, and guess what? It does have a hole in the bottom. And I checked the manual, I checked the box, everything is identical to that of the regular Hyzak. Even, like, the copyright says 2005, even though this is obviously now a newer kind, and it's probably still relatively recent, because, like I said, I got, like, that Hyzak Titans version maybe a year ago, and it didn't have it. But this one, as you can see right here, yeah, it's not the hole, it's the rectangular connector, but this thing is actually compatible with an action base now, without having to resort to the claw things that hinder the leg movement. So that is something very cool, but also something kind of weird that Bandai would once again not mention it, which is a big thing with the Hyzak, because as I mentioned in my reviews of them, for example, the hook on the backpack, on the backstory, I'm sorry, is compatible with the old weapon set for the Zeta Gundam model kits. So the Hyzak is really now beginning to be a thing that's compatible with so many things that are not mentioned on the box. And it also makes me wonder, like, how many other model kits are there out there that now also got upgraded with an action-based connector without Bandai mentioning them. So next up, we have the Zaku Cannon. So let's see if it also has a hole in the bottom now suddenly for an action base. So yeah, the reason I got this thing is I once again want to continue working on my Zaku tank, and I felt like the Zaku tank doesn't really pack a lot of firepower, so I'm pretty much just going to use the backpack of this, glue it onto the tank, and then give these guns to, I kind of forgot the name now, for the Zaku half cannon, I think, which is basically the regular Zaku, but then with these hooked up to the side skirts. And I think there was like a very specific one for that, and then there was like one with a Gatling gun mounted on it. But that is going to be nice to do that. Then I also got some stickers, because I thought, why the hell not? It was like a couple hundred yen, like yeah, 400 yen or something maybe. There were an array of nice stickers. This is a war. So yeah, I thought, why not get them? They could come in handy sometimes. Then moving on to stuff I got from HLJ's latest sale. First of all, system weapon number 10. Again, because well, I really like that bazooka. And I think that the beam rifle of the Dual Gundam is one of the best beam rifle designs in Gundam Seed. It looks nice and also has a torpedo launcher right on there, which is a very good idea if your mobile suit is basically powering your beam rifle and the beam rifle takes up energy from your armor. I mean, having a bit more ballistic weaponry on your Gundam might not be a bad idea, such as a bazooka. So yeah, that is why I really like the system weapon set in, you know, the Gundam Seed universe. Then I also got the Hyakuren and the Hyakuren, because why not? They were on sale, I hadn't gotten them yet, and since I ended up really liking Iron-Blooded Orphans, I do want to get them all now. And the designs did grow on me a bit. I'm still not a huge fan of their design. And nice color scheme. So I'm still not a huge fan, like especially the very thick upper legs, the big thighs, but they have grown on me enough to warrant me buying them when they were on sale. And this, as far as I know, this is going to be exactly the same, just slightly different colors. And now suddenly it kind of reminds me of the V8 and the Mercurius with the color design. Except that these guys are using the same colors and... Wasn't there a separate gun with the previous model kit? So there does seem to be a slight difference with them, which I'll have to check out after this video. And oh, I see, the difference is in the gun. Slightly different gun. So I guess their weaponry is different, meaning that my comparison with the V8 and the Mercurius does hold true. Well, what do you know? Then Kimura's Trooper. Well, all I can say about this thing is it's going to make a great couple with my Grace Ritter. Ah, sweet, action base. Well, I guess that is pretty necessary considering that his hovering mode, or whatever it's called, is going to be pretty fragile to set up. About as fragile as it was when I was fighting against McGillis. Yeah, I can't bring myself to be too excited about this thing when, you know what happens in the anime. So let's quickly put this over there and look at something more happy. A towel! Not just any towel. Earth Federation Space Force. And there doesn't seem to be... Oh, there we go. So yeah, this is a really nice towel. And when I saw it on sale, I, just had to get it, because it's just a cool thing to have hanging around. Then I also got some non-Gundam related stuff from the sale. The first thing being a 1/12 scale. Not sure how to put this on the screen the best. A 1/12 scale TV with a case to put it on. And now I was pretty damn surprised that it didn't come in a box, but a Ziploc bag. Like, wow, that's unusual. Like, really unusual for a model kit. I mean, the towel, that's pretty normal that it comes in just a bag, but this was pretty surprising. So the reason I got this thing was, of course, to go along with my Sega Saturn figure here, which has a Sega Saturn, which is immediately going to go on there. And I also know there are like 1/12 renditions of all the PlayStation consoles, so maybe I'll also see if I can get some of them from eBay and then like have a miniature gaming setup going on. That would be pretty damn funny to have hanging around. And finally, I got myself a Stuka in 1/44 scale. I really like the design of these things. Like the wings, they're just so special. And it seems like I really have a thing going for wings that are like slightly unconventional, like the F-14 with the movable wings, very similar to the Valkyries from Macross or Macross. And then the Stukas, which have this bent design, which is very unique and cool, and also the sound they make when they're dive bombing is pretty damn awesome. Also, there's 2 in here, and the price was very good. So yeah, I couldn't resist getting them. Some other new stuff I almost forgot to mention, Yami Yugi. Unfortunately, didn't get him on sale. But the thing about this guy is, just when I saw that Figma was releasing an action figure of Yami Yugi, it was like, I have to get this. I was a huge fan of Yu-Gi-Oh! Back in the day, played it a lot, pretty much got most of the Game Boy Advance games that were out at the time, even joined in some tournaments with the card game, and recently actually started rewatching the series again while building Gunpla, so when I saw this thing, I just had to get it. Of course, combined with being Figma, high quality, this is a really cool figure, and just really happy to add it to the collection. Then some stuff I got in a sale a really long time ago. This was also from HLJ, and damn, I think this was like at the beginning of the year. But the thing about these figures I got here was that like they took a really long time to get here, and then by that time, of course, I didn't really have time for any new loot videos, and the top doesn't want to come off. Alright, so I got the box opened, and Kotobukiya means it's of course going to be pretty nice quality. Now I never played any of the Xenosaga games, but what I did play was Super Robot Tyson OG Saga Endless Frontier. That was one of the best DS games I ever played. The combat system was just so cool, really fast paced, absolutely gorgeous looking, as opposed to the sprites on the overworld. But yeah. Oh, and this thing. The Dragon Tooth. That was so cool. So nice to use. Also, very nice effect going on with the hair. So yeah, when I saw that this thing was on sale, like in the beginning of the year or something, I just had to get it. Now I should really try to find myself the Xenosaga games for the PlayStation, because from what I've heard, they're pretty good as well. And ooh, that's pretty good. Extra eye decals for if you want to paint. And everything does look nice and shiny. This is going to be a really fun build once I get around to it. Then I also got myself some Patlabor kits, or Patlabor. I'm not exactly sure on how you're supposed to pronounce it in English. And open it up. Get a really large amount of marking stickers, which is not something you usually get with the Patlabor kits, but this is kind of a, you know, special edition, the Ingram Special, kind of like it says in the box. And it comes with a bunch of extra stuff that you do not get with the regular Ingram release, which is also why I decided to get this thing. And I didn't decide to get the normal release, which was also on sale at the time. Very nice green visor going on there. And some white. And the reason I decided to get this is the body armor. And the reason being that Bandai did make master grades of the Patlabors, but for some reason they do restock the regular master grades, but the master grades with like the body armor were a special edition or limited release, or maybe they're just not restocking them anymore for one reason or another. So that's why I did get this thing, because just simply the better version, the master grade, is pretty hard to get your hands on. And now the really big surprise with this thing, what I didn't expect at all, was the poster you got with this thing. Now, it's a pretty staple thing that Bandai did in the 90s, like this was 93. So that Bandai did in the 90s is that on the back of the manual, you have a poster representing the model kit you got. But especially on this thing, the poster is so nice. This is a really cool poster. And I really think that Bandai should have continued doing this with their model kits and with Gundam. I mean, just imagine you're buying a super badass Gundam model kit, and then you get a super badass poster of it. Like, for example, the Sarjagan, you get a badass model kit, you get a badass poster, but unfortunately they stopped doing that. Then I also got the Brocken Labor. Didn't really do a lot, but you know, it's a nice looking thing. Oh, it looks like this thing did come with quite a bit of markings. I guess it's just my Griffin then that I built that didn't come with a lot of stickers. Yeah, very blue machine. Not exactly... not really what you see on the front, which is a bit more subdued. You do get a very cool golden box though. It kind of reminds me of like the Sega Mark III cartridges. You do get some really cool weapons. Reminds me of one of the big Star Wars guns that like the Stormtroopers have. And of course, once again, there you come, we get a nice poster. Not quite as nice as we get with the Ingram Special, but you know, that thing really is something else. Put this back in there, and off you go. Then next up is the Phantom Labor, which I'm not familiar with yet because I am only at volume 10 of the manga. So be sure to tell me if I'm close to seeing this thing, because I do like the way it looks, especially the backpack. That looks really, really good. I mean, it's got the really cool opening gimmick. Also a lot of nice internal detail going on alongside of it. So, here we have some purple. And then we have the poster, which is, once again, really cool to have. Looks pretty damn badass going on there with a lot of smoke effects coming from the backpack. And just the way it opens up is really cool, especially for a kit of this time, which is like early 90s. When you look at the detail it's got, let's see, just the internal detailing there is really well done. And then the backpack, the way it opens up, like, I don't see a lot here, but then here, suddenly, that's a lot of stuff there. And the final thing I got from Patlabor is a Griffin, which I quickly constructed in a night. Looks really nice, though unfortunately the articulation could have been better. Also, the one thing in general I always find a bit disappointing about the Griffin is that it doesn't seem to have a lot of weapons other than, you know, his hands. We're almost done. The last things I got were some Evangelions, which of course I ordered way back when I had that extra 20% off voucher from HLJ, which I could use on pretty much anything I wanted, even out of stock things. So I will soon have all of the Evangelions, and this is the version with the cage. We have Shinji here with his mother. Plastic kinda cheaper looking. It's of course old Bandai standard. And a lot of marking stickers, which is probably going to be used for the base, which this thing comes with. And here we have some parts for the base. The usual Evangelion runners. I mean, they're all very much alike Evangelions. Some kind of sword, which I don't really remember seeing in the anime at all. The bazooka, of course, used by Asuka, which is totally who is going to get that. And more for the base. That's going to be really cool alongside the Evangelions. We have the very nice flexible arms, which is a really cool thing the Evangelion had. Though I'm still not sure how durable they're going to be in the future, but it seems like my Evangelion Unit 2 does hold pretty well. Well, actually, pretty excellent without having moved it around at all, so that is probably going to factor in as well. Then I also got Evangelion Unit 3 cosplaying as the 13th Angel, which didn't end very well. Here we have one of the bridge bunnies whose name I kind of forgot. We have the elongated arms, which unlike the regular Evangelions are not bendable unless you put them in warm water and bend them that way. which is literally what the manual tells you to do, while also telling you to be careful because you wouldn't want to break it. And we also get this very big gun. I forgot exactly what it was, which is also what we get with the regular Unit 3. And the regular Evangelion runners. Here we have a quick list of all of the Evangelion, of all of the angels. Collect them all. Alright, now where was that part about the manual telling us that we could put it in water and bend them that way? I'm pretty sure it wasn't here. I think there's like... Oh, you can bend it if you're like careful. Yeah. Put it in hot water. And what was it again? Oh, positron rifle. That's what it was. So yeah, I also got myself the regular Evangelion Unit 3, but I did already build that. Pretty much the colors are the same, and the difference being, of course, that, well, we get longer arms, and also we get the effect part to go over the plug right there. And then finally, the last thing I got, Evangelion Unit 5, the mass production model. I'm still looking for the final version of the mass production model, but that seems to be pretty damn difficult to find, and it's fetching a pretty high price. Here we have the minifigures of Asuka and Kaji. They're very nice stickers for the mouth of them. I mean, the heads of these are so way different from the regular Evangelions. But then I guess that is a thing when you go from the regular model to the mass production model, like the Gundam and the Jim. Huge wings we get with these. Unfortunately, non-bendable arms, which is what I believe what the big difference between the regular version of the mass production type and the final version of the mass production type was. The arms. These get cheapo arms, which you probably have to put in warm water to even slightly bend them. And then the final version just had the regular bendy arms that we get with most of the Evangelions, except for the 13th Angel. And what I really liked about it is that we still get the rifle. Now, I don't know if they use them in the movies because I haven't watched the movies yet, but that is absolutely something I'm going to do in the coming weeks. Because apparently they do a very good job of making the ending of Evangelion better. I wasn't completely against the endings. I mean, I could live with them, but it would be good to have a slightly better version of what is essentially a kid drawing with crayons. And that's finally everything for this new loot video. Partly because half of it had to be re-recorded from my previous new loot video. And like I said, it just randomly went missing. I mean, I was looking at all the video files and there was literally one number of the sequence missing. So I didn't like just forget to hit recording and I was just talking to a camera that wasn't recording or anything. There was literally a number missing, meaning that probably it got corrupted when I transferred it from my SD card to my computer or something, because something had to have gone wrong, which really sucks, and I really hope it's not going to happen again. And if you don't see this video up like around, like what date is it now? The 29th. So if you don't see this video up around the 30th or the 31st of June, something probably went wrong again. So yeah, really hope I don't have to go ahead and buy a new camera or maybe just a new SD card. Anyways, the next thing I'm going to build is obviously going to be the Force Impulse. That is the first thing of this stuff I'm going to build. Then I'm kind of going to see what I'm going to build next. Maybe the Grace Custom, maybe build some stuff from my backlog, or maybe some of the other stuff that's here. So yeah, that's definitely gonna have to be seen. So if anyone wants a priority build of anything, definitely leave a comment down below. Now, for the next review. I have a few lined up right here, all ready to be reviewed. Or maybe you want to see a full review of the Ifrit. Definitely leave a comment down below. Oh, and talking about the Ifrit, for anyone who was kind of like worrying in that video that I'm going to stop doing regular reviews and that like the only type of review I'm going to do in the future is now that review in a nutshell. Don't worry at all. I'm not going to stop doing what I do normally, what I started doing. Also, the thing about those reviews in a nutshell, it might not seem like that, but they are more work than they seem. So it's not like I'm going to switch to reviews in a nutshell because they're easier to do. The thing about reviews in a nutshell is that well, my regular reviews are just me kind of going with the flow. I don't have a script written. I don't have a lot of things planned. It's just like sometimes I have a few things in my head that I have to say that, and that. But reviews in a nutshell, basically the thing about that was I had everything written out, rewritten a couple of times to, you know, make it short enough. And then the pictures had to take them. That actually took a lot longer than expected. So basically the time that it takes to do a review in a nutshell is maybe slightly shorter or pretty much the same as a regular review. So it's never going to be get to the point where I'm going to be doing reviews in a nutshell just out of, you know, laziness or anything. Anyways, that's all for this video. I look forward to a lot more reviews now that my exams are over and my vacation has started. And see you guys next time.